One thing is definitely for certain, us horror fans have been eating good this month. Hello everyone, my name is Ryan Cam, here with my brief thoughts on Pearl. This was directed by Ty West, it was co-written by him, and it was also co-written and stars Mia Goth. And this is the prequel to X, which literally came out a few months ago. I'm still shocked by that. I don't think in my movie-going experience, I don't think I've ever seen a movie come out and then a prequel come out literally months afterwards. The only thing I can think of that's related to this is when the Wachowskis released The Matrix Reloaded and Revolutions in the same year, but that was a sequel and then the third movie in a trilogy, not a standalone movie or an origin movie and then the prequel. I've never seen that happen. When I heard that this was going to be announced, I was like, wait, this is a prequel of the creepy old lady from X? Um, okay. I don't know if there's a ton of juice left to squeeze in that orange, but let's see what happens. But then when I learned that it was going to be directed by Ty West and starring Mia Goth, two of my favorite things from X, I decided to give it a shot. And then when I saw the immensely positive reviews for this movie initially had my attention, but at that point it had my curiosity. And this movie's really good. I would dare say that I like this movie better than X. And don't get me wrong, I gave it 3 stars on Letterboxd. I would give it at least 3.5. It's gotten a lot better the more I've thought about it. However, I actually quite enjoyed this one over X. They're of equal quality, but I prefer this one. Mia Goth absolutely shines like a diamond in this movie. She is the centerpiece, and it is well deserved. She completely owned every scene that she was in. She comes off as both sympathetic and downright terrifying. It's a delicate balance to achieve, but Goth absolutely achieved it. Do you all remember when Hereditary came out in 2018 and Toni Collette was so awesome in that people were just spamming the hashtag Toni Collette for Hereditary on social media to try and get her an Oscar? It did not happen, but I certainly remember it. Someone should start off a hashtag Mia Goth for Pearl Oscar hashtag because it is well earned. The problem with prequels that I have found is that sometimes they either over-explain or under-explain, meaning they answer questions that no one was really curious to know and just completely ignore things that would have been potentially interesting. Not Pearl. Pearl kind of takes the Better Call Saul route in that it stands alone, but if you've seen X, it adds a lot of context that just adds another layer to what we see in X. It definitely helps if you have seen X, and I'll talk more about that in a second, because there are more than a few Easter eggs, and if you have seen X, they're definitely going to jump out at you. They jumped out at me. But overall, I would say if you went to this movie completely cold, not knowing anything about X, it would help, but also it would hinder. But more on that in a second. While this is indeed the Mia Goth show, I do want to give some love to the supporting cast. This movie has a pretty small cast, all things considered, but I loved the performances from Pearl's parents. Her father is a quadriplegic, and basically his performance, like he's in a wheelchair all movie, and he's there, but his body doesn't function. I believe it's a quadriplegic. I believe that's the technical term. But the performance of the actor is surprisingly really good, especially when things get bad. It gets brutal at times. And then there's Pearl's mom, played by Tandy Wright. I don't know if I've seen her in stuff before, but I hope she gets more work after this because she has a monologue that is just both like harsh but also relatable all at the same time and pretty much calls exactly what Pearl is, a self-fulfilling prophecy. I won't spoil the scene, but it is so well acted. The best way I can describe this character is you took Auntie M from The Wizard of Oz and mixed her in with Carrie's mom from Carrie. You've got Pearl's mom in Pearl. This being in the X universe, there are characters that do really silly things, and there is a lot of restraint shown here, but there is a scene where I was just it took me out of the movie like really bad. Now, not enough to dock the movie any points, but definitely something where I was just like, I would just love to be on a fly on the wall in the writer's room when they were thinking of that. It's the scene where Pearl is in the cornfield and sees a scarecrow. I'll leave it to your imagination. Go with God. That's really the only goofy scene in the movie. And I bring it up because one of my main problems with X is that there's some stuff that is just so back crap crazy that it took me out of the movie completely. And I was just like, seriously, what is going on? And like I said, and this is my biggest problem in the movie, in the fact that this is a prequel. There is some predictability that does come with it. There are certain characters that when you see them, you're like, yep, you're pretty much roadkill, and you are correct. But at the end of the day, I'm going to give this movie a great rating, a very high great rating. There is some miniature problems, but in the grand scheme, this was very well made and a prequel that honestly should never have been as good as it was, but it was. And at the end, they teased there's going to be a third X movie called Maxine, styled with 3 X's. Not gonna lie, that movie is immediately in my most anticipated movies of the year list for 2023. But what did you all think of Pearl? Leave your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to read what you have to say. If you like this video, please be sure to leave a like, comment your thoughts down below, and if you like this video and you want to see more like it, hit the subscribe button and click the bell to allow notifications. That way when a new video drops, you'll be the first to know about it. My name is Ryan Cam, and I'll see you in the next one.